I didn't realize how many people over 60 were silently living with this until I started paying attention to the small signs no one talks about. It usually begins at the end of the day, that heavy feeling in the legs like they're carrying more weight than they should. Then comes the swelling around the ankles, the discomfort while walking even short distances, and that strange mix of tingling and coldness in the feet that never quite goes away. For a long time, I thought these were just normal parts of aging. But the more I observed, the more I realized something deeper was happening beneath the surface. These weren't isolated symptoms. They were signals, quiet warnings from the body that circulation, especially in the lower limbs, wasn't working the way it used to. As I started connecting the dots, a pattern became clear. Over the years, small habits begin to accumulate. Less movement, more time sitting, subtle changes in posture. And slowly, almost invisibly, blood flow becomes less efficient. The veins, especially in the legs, begin to struggle against gravity. That's when things like visible varicose veins start to appear, the legs feel sore after simple activities, and the swelling becomes more persistent. It's a gradual process, which is exactly why so many people overlook it. But here's where everything changed for me. In the middle of this observation, I came across something surprisingly simple, a specific type of daily movement that most people completely ignore, and yet it directly activates what many vascular specialists consider one of the most important mechanisms for circulation in the legs, the natural muscle pump. There's something almost invisible about the way this starts. No alarms, no sudden pain that forces you to stop everything. Just subtle changes that quietly become part of your routine. Maybe you notice that at the end of the day, your shoes feel tighter than usual. Or that when you finally sit down to rest, your legs don't feel relieved the way they used to. At first, it's easy to ignore. Life goes on, responsibilities pile up, and these small discomforts seem insignificant compared to everything else. But over time, they begin to form a pattern that slowly affects the way you move, the way you walk, and even the way you feel about your own body. What many people don't realize is that circulation isn't just about blood moving through veins. It's about energy, oxygen, and nutrients reaching every part of your body efficiently. And when that flow becomes compromised, even slightly, the body begins to adapt in ways that aren't always beneficial. You might start avoiding certain activities without even noticing, walking shorter distances, sitting down more often, taking breaks more frequently. It feels like you're just being cautious, but in reality, your body is responding to something deeper, a system that's no longer working at its full potential. And here's the part that often surprises people. This doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of small, repeated habits over months or even years. Long periods of sitting, limited movement, subtle changes in muscle engagement. All of these factors slowly reduce the efficiency of your body's natural circulation process. But what's encouraging is that the body also responds to positive changes in the same gradual, consistent way. Just as habits can lead to decline, they can also lead to improvement. And when the right kind of movement is introduced, even in small amounts, the body begins to shift. That's why understanding this process is so important. Because once you recognize the signs, you can start taking simple steps to support your body again. And those steps don't have to be complicated. In fact, the most effective ones are often the simplest. What fascinated me is how this works. When certain muscles in the lower legs contract in a rhythmic and intentional way, they help push blood back up toward the heart, improving circulation without the need for anything complex or invasive. Studies in vascular health consistently highlight how targeted movement, especially involving the calf muscles, can significantly support blood flow, reduce swelling, and even relieve that constant sensation of heaviness. One of the most overlooked aspects of circulation is how much it depends on movement. Not intense movement, but consistent, intentional motion. The kind that activates specific muscles in a way that supports the body's natural systems. In the lower legs, there's a group of muscles that play a crucial role in helping blood travel back up toward the heart. This process is often referred to as the body's second pump, and it becomes especially important as we age. When these muscles are engaged properly, they create a gentle pressure that helps push blood upward, working against gravity. But when they're inactive for long periods, like when sitting or standing without movement, this process slows down significantly. That's when symptoms begin to appear more frequently. The heaviness becomes more noticeable. The swelling takes longer to go away. And that uncomfortable sensation in the feet and legs starts to feel like a constant presence rather than an occasional annoyance. What's interesting is that most people assume the solution must be something complex. Long workouts, expensive treatments, or drastic lifestyle changes. But in reality, the key lies in something much simpler. A specific, repetitive movement that targets these muscles directly can make a noticeable difference over time. Not because it's intense, but because it's consistent. Because it works with the body, not against it. And when people begin to incorporate this kind of movement into their daily routine, something shifts. It's subtle at first. Maybe the legs feel a little less heavy at the end of the day. Maybe walking feels slightly easier. But over time, these small improvements begin to add up. And the most surprising part? This isn't about intense workouts or long routines. It's about one simple, consistent exercise done correctly. A movement so accessible that almost anyone can incorporate it into their daily life, regardless of age. Now, if you've been dealing with heavy legs, swelling, or even pain while walking, there's actually a structured way to apply this method safely and effectively. In fact, we've left a practical guide in the first link in the description that shows exactly how to do this step by step. Click and take a look. As this understanding grows, something else becomes clear. The body is constantly communicating. It sends signals every day, small messages that reflect what's happening internally. The challenge is that most of these signals are easy to overlook, a slight tingling sensation. A feeling of coldness in the feet, even when the environment is warm, visible veins that seem more pronounced than before. These aren't random occurrences. They're part of a larger picture. And when these signs are ignored, the body adapts in ways that can make things more uncomfortable over time. Movement becomes less frequent, muscles become less active, circulation becomes even less efficient. It's a cycle that feeds itself. But the moment you become aware of this cycle, you also gain the ability to interrupt it. That's where simple, targeted action comes in. Not drastic changes, but intentional ones. Movements that are designed to support the body's natural function, rather than overwhelm it. People who begin to apply this consistently often describe a gradual shift. Not a sudden transformation, but a steady progression. Days where the discomfort feels less intense. Moments where walking feels smoother. Even the sensation in the feet begins to change. As I continued exploring this, what stood out wasn't just the science, it was the transformation people experienced when they stayed consistent. Little by little, walking became easier. The legs started to feel lighter. The constant pressure and discomfort began to fade. It wasn't instant, but it was real. And most importantly, it was sustainable. Because the truth is, the body responds to what we do repeatedly. Small, intentional actions, when practiced daily, can create changes that feel almost unbelievable over time. And when it comes to circulation, consistency matters far more than intensity. By the time most people reach this point, they've already experienced enough to know that quick fixes rarely lead to lasting results. What truly makes a difference is consistency. Small actions repeated over time with intention. And when it comes to circulation, this couldn't be more true. The body thrives on rhythm, on patterns, on repetition. When you introduce a simple movement that supports circulation and make it part of your daily routine, you're not forcing change. You're allowing it to happen naturally. That's why so many people are surprised by the results. Not because the method is complicated, but because it isn't. It fits into everyday life without disruption. It doesn't require special equipment or extreme effort, just a willingness to start and to continue. Over time, these small efforts begin to reshape how the body feels. The heaviness that once seemed constant starts to fade into the background. The swelling becomes less noticeable. Walking feels smoother, more natural. And beyond the physical changes, there's something deeper that happens. A renewed sense of confidence in your own body. A feeling that you're no longer just reacting to symptoms, but actively supporting your health. That's the real transformation. Not just in how the legs feel, but in how you experience your own body on a daily basis. If you've ever noticed your feet feeling colder than usual, or that persistent tingling that comes and goes, or even the appearance of veins becoming more visible, these are all part of the same story. And the good news is, it's a story that can be changed. That's exactly why, for anyone experiencing these signs, there's also a complete method available in the first link in the description and the pinned comment, designed to help restore circulation step by step. You can access it right now and see how it works. As I reached the end of this journey, one thing became very clear to me. This isn't about quick fixes or miracle solutions. It's about understanding how the body works and using that knowledge in a simple, practical way. When you support your circulation with the right kind of movement, consistently, the body begins to respond. And maybe, just maybe, those heavy legs don't have to feel that way forever. Maybe walking can feel natural again. Maybe your body can feel lighter, more responsive and more alive than it has in years. If this kind of content helps you see your health in a new way, make sure to subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more coming, and each video builds on the last, helping you take back control of your body, one simple step at a time.